name is Phyllis Flynn. I'm a Newfoundland artist. I was born and raised in Stephenville, or Kippens, and when I married I moved to Avondale. So I've been living in Avondale for about 40 years. I like to paint. I painted in just out of high school. We did a course with a fellow from American Base, which I took course, and then that was done in oils, which I don't do anymore because I have sinus problems and the smell of it is bad. So I didn't do anything else until I went to university, and they had courses, and I took courses at university, and I did some continuing education courses with Jerry Squires, which was a famous artist in Newfoundland. So I did acrylics then. I also taught school. I was a nurse. I taught nursing. And when I retired from nursing and teaching, I took up watercolor, which I had not done before. I took courses with it, and I really like watercolor. It is very task-orientated. It makes you think, which is good when you're my age. And all these paintings you see around, they're mostly of Newfoundland. There's a few in there from Alaska. We did a tour in Alaska, so there's some there from Alaska, but most of the others are from Newfoundland. This one on the wall, I like to do things that represent Newfoundland. And this is a picture of a mug-up. Not many people know what a mug-up is. It's in B&Bs, people who stay in B&Bs, before they go to bed, the proprietor would give them a cup of tea with homemade bread and homemade jam. So what you see here is a cup of tea with baked apple jam and blueberry jam. And that was in a B&B in Fogo Island. There's a picture of Bjorn, picture of English Harbour, Cupids. At the corner here is Cupids. And down here is a picture of Alaska. And I also do some youngsters. This is my brother and his grandchild. And that's two little boys. They're in a cabin with their parents. I know their parents. That's a house on the hill. That's a cousin of my husband's on Holyrood Beach. He's there with his granddaughter. So all the pictures are pictures of Newfoundland, something to do with Newfoundland. That's a picture of a technique. That's positive and negative painting. You see, the bottom of this tree is not painted, it's painted around, so that's called negative painting. The top is positive because it's painted. Oh, I did a lot of different lessons and courses. I took continuing education at one where they taught art on Saturdays. It was you got no degrees or nothing, no marks for it. It was just something for entertainment. And I did a couple of those. Jerry Squires, like I said, taught them, and then some of the other professors at university taught. And I took actual, and one had some actual art courses that I took for marks, for my degrees when I was doing degrees.
And we have your daughter here.
Oh yeah, she does a bit of art too.
You can come this way because my mom has certain different styles. One thing about my mom is she's always inspired to try different things. She's never afraid to try different things. And she always kind of looks for the positive in a world that usually is full of very negative. So Marge, you want to tell me about your...
Puffin?
Yeah, your acrylic.
Oh, that's acrylic.
Monochromatic.
Oh yes, that's an acrylic. I do acrylic. I don't do all watercolor and stop. I do alternate it because there's different techniques of both. And if you don't do one, after a while you lose the technique. This is a church in Mount Carmel. I know a lady who said when she was small they used to walk over on the ice over on the water of St. Mary's, but you don't see the ice on that anymore. But at those days the ice used to be there. So I painted it like she and her brother were going over the ice to church. The church is still there. And this is another technique. This is monochromic, all the one color. Different shades in the one color gives you the nice painting, doesn't it? That's a church in Conception Harbor. That's my little nephew. When he was small, I took that picture. He's a grown man, he's over 40 now, but he was small. I took it and I said, one of these days when I start painting in earnest, I'm going to paint that.
Do you have her?
She does. I'll find that one.
And here's another unique one. That's called I call that a seance. It's got all different kinds of faces and ghosts and things, right? That's a semi-abstract now of the icebergs that we get here in Newfoundland. And this I don't think you'll see anywhere else. This is a corner piece. And it just fits together. And it can hang too. It's got the hooks on the back for hanging. But I don't think you'll see it anywhere else. I don't think anybody else. It's acrylic. And this is a watercolor. And that goes to tell you what watercolor you can do. You don't know what you're getting when you start. See, it looks like a fairy almost coming out of the teapot. But that just came. I didn't do that. That came. Watercolors like that.
I found the one at the store, and I found the one, this is the doctor's sailboat, and so he parks that in Avondale in the wharf every year, and it's just stunning, and so it's very inspiring. And of course, this one is actually of our own store. The Moose decided to be our early morning customer. That's what my mom called this picture. It was early morning customer.
Is that even the Moose shops at Flynn?
You never know. Well, I definitely wanted to keep my mind moving because, you can't just be one thing, or your mind starts to really rot, if you will, So I'm an engineer, but I do some painting on the side. I've just been so busy that I haven't. Mostly I do acrylics because they're much more forgiving. Watercolor takes a lot more patience that I currently don't have. My mom has developed that skill very well, and there's one painting here, and I think she showed it to you. This one here, if you look at all the rocks, and then the rocks in the water, this is actually takes a lot of time to get to that level, and with watercolor you can't just layer paint on top. You have to have a plan before time. So watercolor is much more detail oriented, much more you have to have a plan in place, and so I don't have the patience for that yet. With acrylics you can just add layers and layers over the top, so if you make mistakes it's a little more forgiving. So it's a great medium to start with. And when my mom went on a cruise in Alaska, she saw, just look at these little, when you're trying to put 3D into white to give yourself this illusion of depth, that takes a certain technique. I don't really see it like she does yet because she has developed that skill over time. So she can see the beauty in ice and bring it out. And this is acrylic, but if you want to come see the same ice in watercolor right here, this is a totally different style and technique, and she made it look completely different, which is a completely different style. and she's using shading, and it's the same color scheme, but it's slightly changing as you go down to bring in your light source. So my mom is quite talented when it comes to like going from different mediums. I'm not at this level yet, and it will take a long time, but I actually love her poppies because there's nothing like the vibrant color that lasts only for a week. If you don't see it and you don't get to enjoy it, you'll miss it. If you had this on the wall, you could remembrance it. So it's like Remembrance Day, but it's also remember to take time to enjoy what you can, because life is so fast.
That's a unique one. That's a picture of a boat cut in half, and they made it into a dog's house. And that, we took that around the time that the car moratorium came into being in Newfoundland. And I said, even the boats are gone to the dogs. Which is unique for Newfoundland, right? Now there's an oil painting.
So this is you.
That's me. A little Fisher-Price toy that everyone knows. If they didn't have this, they had the pull phone. So this is a real, and this of course against a white picketed, this is not siding, this is actually wood. And that's a wooden picnic table. My little tufted skirt, my little tufted hat, almost like a bonnet. It's a bygone era. I'm a little bigger now, and I'm not as cute with my butt up in the air, but this is really cute.
You're actually gorgeous.
Oh, well, thank you. But
This is one I did when I was doing a course at MUN. And of course I was doing oils then, but I'm not doing oils anymore. Just the two of them. One I did when I was just after finished high school, and this one I did a course at MUN. Oh yeah, that's a picture overlooking overlooking the bay. It's just, I don't know those people, I just put them in.
reminds you of the old-fashioned Guy Fawkes and bonfire night that used to celebrate every fall, and you get everything together, because of course you can see the people are wearing their hoodies, right? So it's got to be in the fall of the year. And that was something that we really did look forward to before we went back to school.
It overlooks Bell Island. That's a winter clothesline. The Newfoundland socks on the line, right with the red stripe on the top, right? Real socks. And that's a picture of Bowling Park. All the colors in the fall. A summer clothesline. So a summer and a winter clothesline, right? And I took a couple of courses with a professor from the States, and he had his own line of watercolors. So that's why you see those colors. You don't buy them around that color of water or trees is something you see in the States, you know? You don't have that here. Anyway, this is an interesting one. That's a semi-abstract on those icebergs that tower over the houses in Newfoundland. That's watercolor. All these were watercolor.
So how do you do it? You go, take pictures,
Yes.
and then you come home and select an image.
And then I paint them.
I think the most interesting thing, though, is that, Mom was always on art courses, but she raised a full family, had a full career before this, so she really only got into this. This is all in the last 5 or 10 years, and you can see the progression and the richness of the different colors and the schemes. She always finds something very interesting. And I mean, to do a house with all these straight lines, this is very architectural almost. and then she'll flip over and do an abstract, which has nothing to do with architecture whatsoever. It's almost whimsical. So she always is trying different things. And this one's actually at my house. I have a copy of this one because there's something about it.
That's on Fogo Island.
Yeah, Fogo Island. And the beauty about the art is when it speaks to you, it speaks to you. So you buy the piece that speaks to you because then it can bring
You
us...
know about Zita Cobbs on Fogo Island? She was a native of Fogo Island, and she went away and she became a millionaire. So she came back to Fogo Island, and she built this huge...
art installation.
No, first she built a hotel.
Yes.
And it's a very exclusive hotel, and she gets a lot of people from Switzerland and other countries. And she used all the folks on Fogo Island to make the blankets for the beds in quilts. And she started some art courses and buildings for artists. And they have shows, I think, there.
A lot of artists in residence as well.
Yeah.
It's quite well known. You can Google it. There's lots going on in Fogo for artists. And that kind of inspired Mom to take this piece, which is traditional, classic, and quite stunning.
That's right where her house is. And these boats are boats that they have races every summer. And they're pulled up there for the fall, but they have races every year. So I painted it like that because most people paint them in the water. And that's the battery in St. John's. That's the same. That's just a print of the original.
Make sure you find what's most important, what you can smile
And the reflections in the water, the hills, and the buildings are all unique for St. John's, right? Now, there's much more wires than these, but I don't put a lot of wires in my paintings because you don't need the wires. They just clog up the scenery, right?
Oh, this is a great one to show reflection.
That's cute. Interesting. Went around Newfoundland, we saw this. There's a sheep and it's tied on, you see? A pet, must be a pet lamb. This one with a reflection.
Yeah, I think this one is really great to look at, both of these, because they're both the same idea, but here you have the reflection in the water on a perfectly calm day, which is very rare in Newfoundland. And so to capture this and to bring it juxtaposed down in such a way is amazing. I can't imagine doing the actual top of the boat down into the water and making it look realistic, because it can't be perfect when it's a reflection. A reflection is never perfect. And then in the same idea, you see the wake of the water with the boat and the boat reflected. So it's the same idea, but they're done. This one's much more crisp and clean, and this one is much more raw and real. And it just gives two different ideas of the same thing about reflections. And that's really the details that go into work that make something go from ow to wow. It's exceptional.
The picture I took of this was on this side, so I had to change it around to get what I wanted. Now, some people say reflections don't come out like that, but we live on the water. So I see reflections all the time. So I know what reflections look like.
That's the liberty of an artist.
And this is a painting of of St. John's, the park. And this is a painting of the Sprackling House in Cupid's. It's a heritage house. It's what you call the salt box house. You hear I tell a salt box house? That's an example of one. That's another monochromic, it's all one color. You also have negative and positive painting in that. That's crocuses in the spring, and that's a couple of mediums. That's got watercolor and maybe a little bit of acrylic, but it also got the black around as fabric paint. Gives a different slant on it. And there's one that I painted just after high school in oils. This is an old picture of Harbour Main next door. Church, they even had a courthouse there. Look. And these buildings that building is still there. But this was a forge. And that's not there anymore. The wall comes around like this. Somebody asked me to paint that. He was giving it to his mother for Mother's Day. She was from Harbour Main. So he lives up here. And I started painting it. I quoted him a figure for a half sheet. Half sheet is about that size, but a full sheet is much bigger. And when I had it half painted, he came in to look at it. I said, I can't sell you this one for that price. This is my mess.
Organized chaos.
Excuse me. My mess. I do a few little paintings on something that catches my fancy. I was on vacation.
So you go with your kit?
I sometimes take it. That was some apples and an apple tree over there. Lots of brushes. That's why we keep this place closed, because I don't want to lose.
How can people find you?
Well, if they drive by here, there's a sign out all the time. I have an email.
And of course, if you're in Flynn, so this is actually Flynn's store, the store you saw with the moose in front of it, which is actually her husband's store from their family business from eons ago. And this studio is actually located on the top floor. Usually when you come in, you can just ask to see the artist studio, and if she's home, they actually call up the artist, my mom, and she comes over and shows you the place.
Thank you so much.
Well, you're quite welcome.
So this is where you work?
Sometimes I work here when the weather permits it. But you get great inspiration here because we see the birds and we see the people coming in the boats in the morning, going out in the morning fishing, and it's quite beautiful here all the time. Even when it's stormy, it's beautiful. I've painted it in the winter time with the big snow drifts out there on the water. I painted it with the seagulls on slabs of ice, and it gives you great inspiration. Very relaxing out here as well.